Have you ever played against a hooper who could just score so effortlessly and thought, why can't that be me? I ended up playing Division I college basketball, but I know I could have been a way more aggressive high school player. What's really frustrating is I now realize that there are some simple tactics I could have used to score more points. But because I can't go back in time and change high school Tucker, I'm going to show you 4 strategies you can use to unlock your aggressiveness. And let me know in the comments how many points you want to average for your team this year. Now, transition is the best place to get easy baskets. I think a lot of players understand this, but they don't know how to play fast or take advantage of fast break opportunities. The main reason that teams and players are normally so efficient in transition is that defenses don't have time to get set. So you might be going up against a mismatch or an advantage situation where it's a 3-on-2 or a 2-on-1. But the key here is that the defense is going to be scrambling. So especially at the lower levels, you'll have more opportunities to attack just one player with speed. The key is to develop a simple but effective downhill move. Emphasis on the word simple. You shouldn't need to do 3 crossovers into a behind the back spin move. The defender will probably be backing up, so use that to your advantage. My favorite downhill attack move, or at least the one that I've gotten the most comfortable with over the years, is the push crossover. This move is really effective when there is space in between you and the defender. And I like it because I'm a little bit taller for a guard, so I never had the tightest, Kyrie Irving like handle. This move allows you to be a little looser with your handle and instead use your body and your pace to manipulate the defender. You can see how the move works in these clips, but basically you sort of jab one way, moving the defender, and then push the ball out in the other direction. There's also no real risk of losing the ball or over dribbling with this move, and those are 2 things you really want to avoid on the fast break. There are 2 other moves I think can be really effective in these one-on-one downhill attack situations. One is a simple hesitation, which can freeze the defender in their tracks and can also be countered into a shot if the defender backs up too much. And the other move I like is the cross jab, which takes a little bit more practice to get good at, but a lot of high level players love to use in transition. I feel like Ja Morant has really popularized the cross jab in recent years. But basically, as you cross the ball in front of you, you also jab in the opposite direction, causing the defender to move the wrong way. The great thing about all 3 of these moves is that they are pretty easy to add to your ball handling bag. And they all work so well in transition, which is an essential situation all great scorers know how to take advantage of. In European basketball, we are taught to purposely foul in transition to take away these advantage opportunities for the other team. In fact, my coach here in Brussels talks about the importance of this fouling skill all the time. This just proves how dangerous a good transition player can be for defenses. Now, luckily, almost no high school players are taught about these take fouls, so you don't have to worry about it. You can just get downhill and get those easy buckets. Let me know if you have a go-to move and how effective it is. Now, let's talk about some half-court offense. The ability to be successful in ball screens is one of, if not the most valuable skill a basketball player can have these days. Think of the best scorers in the world: James Harden, Luka Doncic, LeBron James, and even overseas guys like Mike James, Kendrick Nunn, or Kevin Punter. They're all very aggressive and therefore very dangerous in the pick and roll. Passing out of pick and rolls is a skill all on its own, but let's look at a bunch of different ways you can manipulate the defense and create scoring opportunities for yourself within the pick and roll. And to be clear, you don't need to be a small guard to use ball screens. I'm 6'5", and especially in college, I developed into a real threat using ball screens. So I think players of all sizes should really try and improve this skill. The first look when your big comes to set you a ball screen should always be to try and reject it. You can do this early on while your defender is distracted trying to prepare for the screen, or you can wait until the screener is actually set and use some sort of crossover to refuse the pick. Either way, if you do get by that first defender, you will almost always put yourself at an advantage because the big man is going to be out of position, still trying to guard the ball screen. And if you try to reject and it doesn't work, you can always still use the ball screen. Now I'm going to quickly go through a bunch of other ways you can operate a ball screen to prove that if you get good at using them, you'll create so many more scoring opportunities for yourself. So on-ball defenders are normally taught not to get rejected. So they will sometimes begin forcing you into the screen a little bit too early, which is a perfect time to attack his open stance. Now this is similar to a rejection, but you are attacking towards the screen. If the defending big is in drop coverage, meaning they're sitting back and not being aggressive, You can tell your big to change the angle of the screen to allow you to attack straight downhill. This is where patience can be helpful, actually waiting for your big to change their body position within the play. If your defender goes under the screen, you have two really good options. You can sit behind the screener and shoot the three if that's what you're comfortable with, or you can ask for a rescreen. The rescreen is helpful because your big can set the second screen even lower, making it harder for your defender to go under twice. And after the rescreen, that's when you attack. Another way to take advantage of a big who is in drop coverage is to come off the initial ball screen and keep your defender on your back. You will see high-level players doing this all the time, giving themselves a 2-on-1 opportunity in the paint against the opposing big. Also, as you hold your defender on your back or in jail, you can snake the ball screen with a push-out cross. If the defense wants to switch the screen, great. There'll be advantages all over. Obviously, you can try and pass it inside to your big who will have a mismatch, but you can also attack the big who has switched onto you, which is also a mismatch. Either attack immediately using a simple move, or you can use another strategy in college we called a boomerang. Basically, you pass the ball out to a teammate, then back up a little bit before getting the ball back and attacking the big with speed going downhill. And of course, you should know what to do here. Be aggressive. If the defense guards the screen well, which will happen, you can dribble into some space, pass the ball to your big, and then sprint into a dribble handoff. This gives the defense a new action to guard and can free you up from a really good on-ball defender. In general, going for dribble handoffs is good for players who might have a shaky dribble or are really good at shooting and cutting. So I just gave you 7 unique, fairly simple ball screen reads. And of course, there are so many other reads I didn't talk about, but the point is to get creative in ball screens because they can be so effective. Also, a great way to improve your ball screen reads is to play small-sided games. So 2-on-2s, 3-on-3s. The group you're playing with can even decide on a specific defensive coverage so you can work on different reads. I promise you this skill will allow you to score more, but more importantly, it will separate you from other young players. An underrated skill that I hadn't really seen being utilized as much as it should be until I got to the professional level is the use of fakes. Again, I talk so much about manipulating a defender, not just with your dribble moves or your speed or athleticism, but with your basketball IQ. And getting really good at fakes will almost certainly increase your ability to score in more ways. Quick story, my last year of college, we played Texas in the NCAA tournament. Texas was a 2 seed that year and we were a 15 seed. And honestly, it was the toughest matchup out of my 4 March Madness experiences when I was at Colgate. Anyway, Texas had this player, Serge Rice, who was incredibly elite at one skill. When our coaches went over the scouting report and they got to Rice, they made it emphatically clear that we could not bite on his shot fake. Now, I had watched Texas throughout the year just as a college basketball junkie, so I knew about Rice's shot fake, and it really was something to behold. All year long, he had guys jumping and flying around trying to block his shot just for him to dribble by them and score. So if you can get really good at shot fakes, especially at the lower levels when the defense is going to be undisciplined, you will create more drive opportunities for yourself. Not only that, but then you might get into situations where the defense is so worried about your shot fake that they don't even guard you and you just get open threes. This is what happened to us against Serge Ibaka. We were so worried about his shot fake that we didn't close out all the way in the game, and I think he hit 5 threes in the first half alone. But don't worry, later in the second half, when we were so worried about him making threes, he brought the fake back and got us. Shot fakes aren't the only way you can trick your defender and create a scoring opportunity. Start utilizing pass fakes in pick and roll situations to make it look like you're hitting your big, which can lead to an easy score. One of the best EuroLeague guards, Facundo Campazzo, is elite at pass fakes. It's been really fun for me recently to dive into a lot of his film. Some of the most elite manipulators can even make a defense move or jump just with their eyes. I remember Jason Williams, or White Chocolate as people call him, who was one of the best at this and honestly just faking people out in general. You don't need to use fakes in such a flashy way, but get creative with it as you add this skill to your game. And quickly, I also consider jab fakes to fall into this category. Some of the best scorers like Kobe Bryant or Carmelo Anthony can move defenders with jabs and get buckets without even dribbling. Again, this category of using fakes to be more aggressive doesn't take that much extra skill. It is more about having awareness and knowing what situations to use them in. And my advice is to study guys like Serge Rice, Facundo Campazzo, Jason Williams, or Carmelo Anthony. Yes, you will need to train these fakes to get good at them, but watching those players use them in action will also be very helpful. How is it that great shooters are able to get shots off? It sounds simple, but how does someone like Sam Hauser on the Celtics, who everyone knows is just in the game to shoot, still get good looks? The main reason is that he knows how to move when he doesn't have the ball. So knowing when and where to move during games will increase your aggressiveness because it will lead to more open opportunities. The most basic example of this is knowing where to move when a teammate drives so you can make yourself available for a kick out. In most cases, the rule of thumb is if someone is driving towards you, you want to move away from them. And conversely, if they are driving away from you, you will want to fill behind and close the space. Another basic spacing read is when a player drives baseline, you want to drift to the corner to give them an outlet pass. If you really want to get some easy baskets, get good at cutting. I remember my senior year of high school in the sectional finals, I finished the game with only like 4 points on 4 shots. The other team was guarding me really closely and I felt like I couldn't get any easy offensive opportunities. If I could use a time machine and go back to that game, I know I would have scored at least 10 to 15 more points just from knowing how to cut. Luckily, my teammates bailed me out. We still won the game. Anyway, cutting is a balance because you don't want to clog up space for your teammates on drives, but there are usually opportunities for LeBron cuts from the wing on baseline drives. Also, cutting when a teammate has the ball in the post is a great chance to catch the defense off guard. Obviously, noticing when you're being overplayed and finding backdoor opportunities will tend to lead to points, which is the biggest thing I could have done back in high school. In advantage situations like in transition, it's important to space away from your teammates to make the defense have to make a decision on what to give up. If you run towards the ball, you'll usually allow one defender to guard 2 at once. You don't have to be constantly moving in basketball. There are times when standing still on offense is actually the best thing you can do. But more often than not, making little movements towards or away from the ball can turn a contested 3 into a wide open one. Not only that, but if you make your defender have a longer closeout, you will have more attacking opportunities from the perimeter. I promise you, high school players do not know how to close out properly. Make this read and blow by them aggressively. Remember, being aggressive and scoring more isn't just about how skilled you are. That is certainly important, but I was really skilled in high school. The problem was I lacked an aggressive mentality. So all these tips and situations are helpful, but if you get into a game and you never attack, you are doing yourself and your team a disservice. In your next game, start to feel what it's like to be constantly in attack mode. I guarantee you will become a more dangerous player than you think you can just by shifting your mindset. And if you struggle with overthinking, check out this video on how I learned to stop overthinking in my games. Thank you so much for all the support on the channel. I appreciate each and every one of you, and I will see you again soon.